So last night I stuck on a movie, didn't think too much about it, and I was like, right, I'm going to watch this, it's new, and I know I'm going to like it because I've seen the trailer, but little did I know it would be one of my favourite movies of the year, and I'm honestly blown away by how good this movie was. And that movie is Leave the World Behind. It came out yesterday on Netflix, and here is my non-spoiler review. So Leave the World Behind is a Netflix original. It's directed by Sam Esmail and it stars Julia Roberts, Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali and Myha'la. And those 4 actors and actresses are just phenomenal on screen. I was blown away by how good they work together. They bash off each other, they gel together, and just what happens in this movie is so much better to be experienced blind. So if I can give you one piece of advice before you listen to anything else that I say, go into this without knowing anything that is going to happen in it. Yeah, the trailer kind of gives some bits away, but it doesn't give everything away. And honestly, it's 2.5 hours long, and from the moment that it opened until the moment that it closed, I was gripped in and I could not look away. I was so invested in this movie. There are so many twists and turns, so many little hints at what's to come, plot twists left, right and center. Just an absolutely phenomenal movie. And I have to say, this movie is honestly one of my favorite movies of the year. That I've said it already, and I'm shocked by how much I liked it. And yeah, it's getting good reviews, but I just cannot believe how amazing this was. I seriously was sat there, and as I said, I couldn't look away. I was so invested in this storyline. And to give you a small bit of context without giving anything away, Leave the World Behind is essentially the collapse of society. So it's an apocalyptic movie. Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke bring their kids to a vacation home just on the other side of the Hudson River in New York. They live in New York and they just take a little vacay about an hour outside of New York. And when they get there, there's a blackout and some weird things start happening. The news channels won't work, the TV won't work, nothing is kind of coming through on cell phones, the service is gone, the internet is gone. And from that point on, then there's just some really crazy stuff that happens. And I actually really want to get into it, but I can't because it's going to give you spoilers if I even hint at some of the stuff that happens. But in a nutshell, the apocalypse, right? It's the apocalypse. But is it the apocalypse or is it something else? You'd have to watch it to see. But I was just so hooked, and I love movies like this. I loved Knock at the Cabin, and if you liked Knock at the Cabin by M. Night Shyamalan, you're going to like this too. It gave me similar vibes, but I really think this one was better. So Mahershala Ali and Myha'la knock at this door, and they say that they're the owners of the house, so they've obviously rented it on Airbnb to Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke's family. And they say that they want to stay there until the blackout is over, and they end up staying there for a very long period of time because the blackout spirals into something much more, and essentially it is the end of the world. Is it the end of the world, or is it something a lot more scary? I think it's something a lot more scary. And that is the one thing that I was watching this movie and I was like, this could happen tomorrow. And that is what is actually so gripping and scary about it. I know I've said it's an apocalypse movie, but it feels more like a warning. And I think that is what makes it really creepy and scary. And movies like that can either be really good or really bad, and I think this one falls into the really good pattern. The cinematography is some of the best that I have seen this year. I was blown away. The cinematographer likes to use a lot of top-down shots, so you see like it kind of, I think it's drones, but like it's looking down on a car while the car is moving. It's looking down on houses, and the like even transitions between the scenes. Like Mahershala Ali ends up sleeping in the basement, Julia Roberts and all are in the bedroom on the second floor, and it transitions from like down through the house between their conversations and stuff and outside the windows, and it pans, and there's a lot of long prolonged shots that don't cut off, that used really cool techniques to kind of transition the camera between one position and another, and it was just really cool to watch. Very fluid camera movements, just mind-blowing, just really good. And the soundtrack, oh my god, the soundtrack is just epic. It is so suspenseful, so intense. I literally was sitting there like, oh my god, this is giving me goosebumps. There's certain scenes when the characters go off and do other stuff, and it kind of like jumps between each character's kind of current moment while the score is building, and you're literally like, something's about to happen here. And literally just from the 2.5 hours, it's non-stop. stick with it. The first 5 minutes are maybe a little bit like, I don't know what's going to happen here, but when things start to get going, they do not stop, and there's just twists and turns left, right and center. I'm not going to say anything else about this movie because you need to just see it to believe it. Julia Roberts is fantastic. Ethan Hawke is a great contrast to her. She's very bossy, he's very goofy. I think they were both amazing. Mahershala Ali, honestly, an amazing performance. Every time he's in a movie, he just smashes it, and he was so charming in this. Do you believe what he's saying? Do you not? Do you end up trusting him? Do you not? These things all get played out. The rest of the cast, like Myha'la, is a great addition to this cast, and I loved her chemistry with Julia Roberts, or lack thereof chemistry, if you know what I mean, if you've seen it. But look, honestly, one of my favorite movies of the year. I love movies like this. The directing is fantastic. The cinematography is top tier, and it's very unique, very creative. The soundtrack is just so intense and is goosebumps inducing. The cast, they all do an amazing performance, and even the visuals are perfect. The symbolism, the messages that it leaves, just really, really scary in a way that you're like, this could literally happen any day now, and this is probably what would end up happening if this went down. And I think that's kind of what really leaves a mark with you. I can't recommend this movie more, and I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna give it a 10 out of 10. I was literally sitting there like, this is, honest to God, one of the best movies I've seen of the year. But I'm gonna dock it a half a mark because the ending is left open-ended, and like, you kind of get to piece it together. You know what's gonna happen, but it's up to you to decide what happens next, what actually did happen, what did I just see there. And I think those movies are cool because they give you good discussions, but I would have just liked a very closed ending. But it's not the biggest con for me, and as I said, I'm only going to dock it a half a mark, so I give this movie a 4.5 stars, 9.5 out of 10. I honestly think that this is one of the most fun I've had in a movie this year, and I cannot urge you anymore to go and watch this on Netflix. But please do me a favor and don't look up anything about it. Just go in, experience it, come up with your own things as to what's going on, and just let everything unfold. This movie is out right now on Netflix. Leave the World Behind, one of my favorite movies of the year, and that's saying something.